Welcome, friends, to Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter. We bring you the greatest female voices in the music industry, from the artists, songwriters, and producers, to managers and executives, and all the women who make the music industry what it is today. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, friends, to another episode of Crazy Women Country. I'm Donna, and today we are here with Miss Sydney Mack. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. How are you doing?
I am doing wonderful. It's a nice cloudy day in Florida, so it's been cooler than normal. Enjoying the cool down. How about you? How's your weather?
You know, I was just going to say it finally, and I say finally, I know it's only February, but it feels like spring. It feels like Easter outside right now. I mean, I've taken a lot of walks this week already just because I just want to get outside and soak it in.
Wonderful. So we like to start off all interviews with the most difficult question of all. Who is Sydney Mack?
She is a girl who had a dream of moving to Nashville from a very young age. And she learned about the process of songwriting along the way. And she is a girl who is inspired by all different genres, but knows that country music is her home. I love the storytelling. I love the lyrics are just so important in a country song. And that's really, I love Motown and R&B and Muscle Shoals, all of that kind of Southern rock stuff. That's what moves my soul, but country is where my heart is.
Beautiful. Love it. So I know we were talking a little bit earlier about your most recent release, and that was Strangers Again. You want to tell us a little bit about that? What inspired that, the writing behind it? Was it based partially on real life, or how did that come about?
Yeah, it was actually, I remember the day I was driving along Franklin Road in Nashville and had to stop for gas. And I heard a song come on the radio, and it immediately made me think of my husband. And I realized how many things just on a daily basis remind me of him. Even the dumbest little things, that remind me of him. And I started thinking, I couldn't tell you one thing that reminds me of one of my exes. And it made me think, it's so crazy how somebody that I knew and dated, for an extended period of time, and I knew it's seemingly everything about them. I knew their schedule. I knew what foods they liked, what movies they liked, what car they drove. I couldn't tell you a single thing about them today. And it's wild how they can go from a stranger to someone, again, that you know everything about, back to a stranger. So that's where that idea came from. And then I took it to my co-writers, and they all, like, both of them even, understood that, and they could relate to that. And typically when you have three people in a room and everybody can relate to it, that's a good start to what the song could be about, because everyone is familiar and has gone through something like that. And I think it's such a universal thing that maybe you don't think about until you hear a song like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's really awesome. Yeah. I love the song. I was listening to it. I was just enjoying that today. And then as I was listening to some other songs, I was listening to the one that really caught my attention was Save Me. I hit that one and I was like, oh, this is just perfect. Perfect love song. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, that song, I had that idea because I love a good title that you think the song is going to be about one thing, and it is the complete opposite or not exactly what you expected. And that song, Save Me for last. It's just like, you don't want to win. That's literally the one race you don't want to win, because that means you don't end up with that person. And, my husband is definitely a great muse. Unfortunately for him, I write a lot of breakup songs. But every once in a while I get a love song like Save Me or like Dark Horse that he absolutely inspired, because I really don't care who he dated before me, because at this point it doesn't matter. You know, he saved me for last. And I saved him for last, obviously. It goes both ways.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I loved about that song, because it was like, you know, you see a title sometimes, and that's exactly what I thought. I was like, okay, so I wonder what this one's going to be about. And, you know, and you start listening and you're like, oh, I like it. Like, especially when it takes you in that different direction of what you thought it might be about.
Yeah. And thank you very much. I'm really glad to hear that you like that one, because that's one of my favorites too.
Yeah. I had that one on repeat for a while. So, you know,
Thank you.
I'll try not to sing along out loud anywhere recorded. So, you know, you're not embarrassed by, you know, a tone deaf person.
No, go for it.
You know,
we'll do carpool karaoke. How about that? Like at some point we could do that.
Okay. Oh, so tell us, who are some of the women that have inspired you to do music?
Really, it took me a while to figure this out. It kind of hit me one day. I grew up listening, like I said, to all genres, just being inspired by everything. But country music, I mean, I absolutely loved the Judds. As early as 3 years old, I would sing Grandpa Tell Me About the Good Old Days with my mom. And, you know, she was Naomi, I was Winona. And that was just a thing that we did. I mean, we went to musicals and all of that kind of stuff. And I grew up singing in a children's choir and was classically trained. We sang with, you know, the Pittsburgh Symphony, and we toured a lot and everything. But it always, like, country music was the constant in my life. And I think I saw this mom and daughter singing together, and subconsciously it's like, hey, that's what my mom and I do. So I think that's really where it started for me. But I absolutely love Trisha Yearwood. I love Patsy Cline. I mean, she is the queen. I love everything she did. I love the character and the tone of her voice, because it's lower, you know, and I related to that even from a young age, that I've always had kind of a low voice. So those are my main ladies. Obviously I love, you know, the Faith Hills and the Shania Twain, and Bonnie Raitt, Aretha Franklin. Those are some other, you know, inspirations, I guess, but really, really Patsy Cline, Trisha Yearwood, and the Judds are my favorites.
Great choices, all of them. I mean, and,
Thank you.
Definitely, yeah. I can't argue with any of them, obviously, you know. So I just wanted to know, when you decided to do American Idol.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know that was a big thing, and you know, growing up with it, obviously, same generation. You know, I was an adult when it started, but still, that whole thing, you know, because it was a different experience. And when it first started, I mean, some of it was more on the negative. You saw more negative than positive. Than like now, it's more positive. You know, but so what was your you know, what was like, oh, I need to try this? You know, what was the reasoning like?
Well, it's very interesting. So I auditioned the first time when I was 16. I didn't know what I was doing. I was a late bloomer, and just I'm still camera shy. Like I'm not that person that's gonna, you know, run up to the camera. And I mean, I will ham it up all day long for, you know, friends, family, even on stage, that kind of stuff. But just having that camera in my face, I'm not great with that. But so auditioned when I was 16, picked some random song, changed it at the last minute. It was a disaster. And I thought, you know, I gotta try this again, because, you know, there have been a lot of people who you never hear from again. But if you are committed to working at it, I do think that no matter what happens on the show, you can really parlay that. So I really wanted to give it a chance and give myself another chance. I needed it, I think, just for my own clarity. So a number of years later, I auditioned again and didn't tell my parents, he was my boyfriend at the time. He's now my husband, but I didn't tell a single soul until I had that golden ticket to LA, because I was like, don't want to jinx myself, anything like that. So that's really why I decided to do it. It was because I knew that any kind of exposure from a show like that would be amazing. Never really thinking that, especially auditioning in Nashville when there were 8,000 people who auditioned, and I think it was like 72 people made it to LA. So that's you know,
an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, exactly. And I was really, really proud of that. But auditioned for a number of producers, and they said, yeah, okay, yeah, you're going to audition for the TV judges tomorrow morning you have to be here at 7 a.m., camera ready. And this was 9:30 p.m. that night. And they said, but we want you to change your song. We think you should do a different song for the TV judges. So now I have 14 hours, or I don't know, 10 hours to figure out what song and nail it. So got there at 7 a.m. the next day, didn't get to sing for the TV judges until 3:30 that day. I was one of the last people. So nerve-wracking. And went in, sang a song, and none of the judges said anything yet. And I said, you know what? I knew I hadn't done my best at that point. And I said, you know what? Can I sing a different song for you guys? And they were like, sure. So I sang Angel from Montgomery, which is a John Prine song. Bonnie Raitt sang it. And Keith Urban was like, that's what I wanted to hear. I can't do an Australian accent, but he said, that's what I wanted to hear. And J-Lo agreed. Harry Connick Jr. agreed. And I was off to LA. And then I think I made it like 2 rounds out there. And it was a mental exercise for sure. I mean, you know, you have to be able to sing, but you really have to be able to stick with it mentally. And it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, I can only imagine, like, you know, the competition part of it is that's what you're just saying, you know. But yeah, and I think it also timing. I really think sometimes it's just they hear a voice and they're like, oh, that's awesome. And it, you know, and I think that's true about the music business in general. I mean, there are songs that put out at the right time are just as amazing as, you know, 20 years ago, you know, because some of those songs are timeless. And if someone didn't know them 20 years ago, because obviously with new generations, it just blows up, right?
Yep. I think you're exactly right. I mean, I think about my sound and, you know, the kind of songs that I write and even my voice and just every little thing that makes me who I am as an artist. It wouldn't have been the right time, you know, 5 years ago or 10 years. Like the time I really, really believe for me as personally as an artist is now. I really believe that. I'm big believer in time and place and everything happening for a reason.
Absolutely. And even though the audience didn't hear this, earlier we were talking and you had put 7 singles out last year, right? In 2021?
Yeah. Yep.
So if you all haven't heard those, go check them out after the interview. Mind you, again, wait till the interview's over.
Yes, please. But it was, you know, it sounds like, okay, well, there's 12 months in a year, 7 songs. You know, that's a song every 2 or so months, 1.5 months. But the lead up to all of it is just, you know, and keep in mind, I'm still trying to write. I'm still trying to play shows and do TikToks and do interviews and all this stuff. But deciding on the song, getting the artwork together, getting the release date, all of the promo stuff that I do because I'm an independent artist myself, you know, I mean, it's a lot of work. So I'm really, really grateful to have put 7 songs out, but I also can't believe I put 7 songs out.
No, it's amazing. So
Thank you.
Yes. And I commend you for that because, yes, I can see from other friends in the industry that have gone through that in the indie area where they're doing everything themselves. And I'm like, okay, what can I do to help you? Should I throw it on my blog or, you know, things like that to try to help out? But yeah,
well, I can tell you, we appreciate that because it is, but at the same time, no one's making me do this. You know, I do this because this is my dream. This is what I want to do. And it's obviously something I love no matter what. It's a lot of work, but again, there's nothing else in the world that I would rather be doing.
I think you just nailed it. You're doing what you love, and that's the key, you know? Yep. So are you ready for 20 crazy questions?
Oh, I'm ready. Let's go. I love this. I love that you do this.
What's the last thing you read?
Oh my goodness. Was it The Time Traveler's Wife? I believe that's what it was called. I am admittedly a terrible reader. I am someone who I I love reading quotes and articles and blogs, but when it comes to books, I am terrible. And it's been like a resolution of mine to really try to read more. So if you have any suggestions, I'm open.
Okay, well, find something that totally interests you, because that's the like people that aren't big readers. That's the only thing I can tell them. Like, you have to find that, there are kids at comic books. That's what they read, and yeah. So
yeah,
and there's also audiobooks now.
That's
that
might be the jam. Like on my way to a writing stuff, because that's how you get inspired as a writer. You get inspired by reading what others write. So that's definitely. I do need to get better about that.
Hypothetically, if I came to you and said, I need to hide a dead body, do you know a good place?
Hypothetically. Well, my first thought would be like deep in the woods. We got a lot of woods here in Nashville. That's what I would say. I will say though, if I'm watching a show like Snapped or something like that, or like Dateline, if I'm watching it with Eric, I'll be like, that's not what I would have done. And he's like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. But so yeah, I surprisingly haven't thought about that, but I would say the woods. You can get in there for sure.
I feel like we should have like a TV night and watch some of the ID channel stuff, because like the Wives with Knives, I have a feeling this would be such a great conversation of topic.
Oh yeah. It's so unbelievable that it just sucks you right in. You're like, this is insane. Yeah.
What are the top 2 concerts you've been to?
Oh man. Okay. Number 1 is definitely Bonnie Raitt at the Ryman. She played there a few years ago, and it was just, the Ryman is such a special place in country music, and it's so intimate. I think it's like less than 3,000 seats in there. And we were maybe like 8 rows back or so. And she sang Angel from Montgomery, and John Prine came out and sang with her. And I'm not a crier, but I've never cried at a concert. And that was one that it was absolutely incredible. And then my second favorite was actually Keith Urban at the Ryman. He is such a, he's got great songs, but he is a musician to the nth degree. I mean, he's out there with like a loop pedal, kind of the way Ed Sheeran does it, where he builds the track as he's playing live by himself. And it was just him. And his vocals were amazing. Like his passion for music is infectious, and it was just an incredible show.
They sound like both awesome concerts.
Yeah.
Hopefully if they're ever playing again, we can all catch it together.
Yes.
Yeah. So what's the first thing you would do if you won the lottery?
Ooh. The first thing I would do is probably buy a house. Have the housing market everywhere is bonkers right now, but I love to look on Zillow. I mean, I look at it like every morning just while I'm having my coffee, just for fun. And it is insane in Nashville right now. I mean, you can't find anything. I mean, it's insane. It's insane. So I would need to win the lottery to buy a house in Nashville.
I could understand. There's so much inflation right now with that. So.
Oh yeah.
Tell us something on your bucket list.
Something on my bucket list is to spend an extended period of time in Europe. I went to Paris when I was young, and in fact it was 2001, and went to Paris then. But other than that, and it was a very quick trip, but I really would love to go and explore, where some of my ancestors are from, and like Italy and Germany and Croatia and England. I would love to spend some time over there.
Sounds like a beautiful trip. Make sure you take us along.
I will. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, what job would you be terrible at?
A lot of them. Probably.
I love that honesty.
I mean, I do have, like, there are things I think I would do if I didn't do music, but one thing I know I couldn't do for sure is be a nurse, a doctor, EMT, anything like that. I almost passed out getting stitches out one time because I hate needles. I can't, any of that kind of stuff. I mean, I am so grateful to our nurses, especially. I mean, my gosh, they are angels as far as I'm concerned. I couldn't do it.
Okay, so we'll definitely not allow you to do any of that stuff for sure.
No, definitely not. Trust me, you don't want me. Well, it will end badly for everybody.
What's your game plan for zombie apocalypse?
Just be faster than the slowest person. And just make sure that I can run faster than at least one person. And I think I can buy myself some time.
Perfect. What albums or artists should we listen to before we die?
Oh, man. Chris Stapleton, Traveler, hands down. Really anything by Miranda Lambert. The Beatles #1 album that has all of their #1 songs on it. Huge Beatles fan. I didn't know that pop music really existed. I listened to like literally country, Motown, and the oldies with my mom growing up. And this is really random. The Sound of Music soundtrack. It's one of my favorite.
Love that.
Yes, it's very eclectic. Very eclectic.
Oh. Who would play you in a movie about your life?
Oh man. Great question. I'm trying to think of like the younger the younger actresses. Well, if they didn't have to look anything like me, J-Lo for sure, because she's like absolutely goals. I'd like to come back as her in my next life. But I don't know. I always kind of like maybe like Julia Stiles or someone kind of, I don't know. That's a great question. It would have to be someone who doesn't take themselves too seriously, and I think there are some celebrities who do, and I would not be one of those people. So they would have to just be willing to let loose and be real.
Those are great choices. So this one's a little more prolific. Where's Waldo?
In the library with a knife.
I feel a Clue reference there. Would you rather cook or order in?
It depends on the day. I love to cook, but after a long day, it is the last thing I want to do. When I have time, I am all about cooking, baking, things from scratch. I love all of it, trying new recipes, but most days my husband would agree that I'm like, can we just get takeout, please?
Oh yeah, I think we all do that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And always with the greatest intentions. Like I'll go to the grocery store and have everything I need. And I'm like, I just don't want to deal with the chicken tonight, please.
Exactly. Oh, do you sing in the shower?
100%. I don't know why. It's such a shame. The best acoustics are in there. And I was like, I could, I'd love to like stand in the shower and sing with my phone and do a TikTok or something in there. But it's like, it's a little weird. So probably, but definitely sing in the shower.
Maybe like, totally dressed and stuff. That might be different. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Not weird, like half head shower. Yeah, no.
Where you can, yep. Not leaving. What is it? Not leaving anything to the imagination. I would like to leave a lot of things to the imagination, so I will be fully clothed.
Oh. So, boots or heels?
Ooh. great question. I love heels when they are necessary, but I am definitely more of a like yoga pants girl as a whole. So I'm definitely more relaxed. I do love getting dressed up, but if I had to pick, I would pick boots.
Either's a good choice. Oh, what's the best thing since sliced bread? No, this is a difficult one.
It really is, because I'm like, there are so many things. My iPad. It's so nice. Like I love to do a workout, like a little workout app that I use. And it's just so nice to have the iPad or like to look at a recipe. Yeah, it makes a lot of things much more doable.
Absolutely. Do you have any guilty pleasure music? And if so, what is it?
So I grew up listening to, like, even then it was a guilty pleasure because I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever, but I loved it, was that really super vanilla, like punk, like Good Charlotte. I can sing every single word to I forget the name of the album. Oh my goodness. It's a Good Charlotte. It was like their first, the Young and the Hopeless, I think was that album, but I can sing every single lyric. And I'm like, I wish I could get rid of those to make space for songs that I actually care about and that I want to sing. Cause I'm like, you watch, I will mess up a cover song because there are too many Good Charlotte lyrics stuck in my head.
I could totally understand that one. We all have those songs that just, there's no reason why they're still in our heads.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like the Austin Powers, just the two of us from the moment I heard Frau say I had a clone. I know that whole thing. Why? I should not know that.
Oh. What's the worst pizza topping in your opinion?
Olives. I don't like olives, so I guess that's not fair, but definitely they don't belong on a pizza.
Fair enough. At least you didn't say pineapple. The big debate lately has been pineapple, yay or nay. And I'm like, okay, what's with the pineapple all of a sudden? Like, it's been on there before, you had those Hawaiian pizzas. I don't know.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of salty and sweet, so I kind of like the pineapple. I don't love ham on a pizza, but like maybe pineapple and bacon would be cool.
That sounds pretty good too.
Yeah. I like a good cantaloupe wrapped in prosciutto. It's kind of the same thing, sort of.
Exactly. Yeah. With a little dough.
Yeah. Which, I mean, come on. Like, you can't go wrong with dough.
Yeah. Oh, if you could be any other person or a position like a CEO or, whatever, who or what position would you want to be for a day and why?
Oh, man. This one is really random, but this is what first popped into my head. Mark Cuban. So I'm originally from Pittsburgh. He is also from Pittsburgh, even though he's very big in Dallas. But I watch a lot of Shark Tank, and he is just such a smart business person. And me being such a creative type, and I do appreciate the business and really try to learn as much about it as possible. I majored in music business at Belmont in college just to learn more. But Mark is just so innovative and smart and not afraid to fail. And I think that's, a lesson that a lot of us could stand to learn, is anything worth having, it's going to be hard, and you're going to fail along the way, but just having the guts to do that. I think that's really commendable and really cool what he's done.
Yes. And you got to remember, failure isn't the ultimate end. I think the word fail in itself, I think they call it the first attempt in learning. The acronym. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
I don't think I've ever heard that. That's really, it's so true though. It's so true. It's, yeah. It's something that I need to remind myself too.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Worst can happen is you fail, right? And then you just get back up and do it again. So
Exactly.
Think like what children do, they don't ever learn to walk, when they first start walking, they fall all the time. They just get back up. Yeah.
It's so fundamental, but then we all, you grow up and you overthink and overanalyze everything
and the pressures of everything else. Yeah.
Exactly.
So are you good at keeping secrets?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm not telling you one on air here. Oh. At what age did you become an adult?
I don't even know if I am one yet. I really truly believe that, and I wrote a song about it, but it's called Grow Up. But we can grow old, but we don't have to grow up. And
yes.
I still think of myself as a 15, 16-year-old girl. And it's like, I can't be married. I live with a boy. That's not even possible. But I mean, obviously I do all of the adulting things that I have to do. I pay my bills and all of that good stuff. But yeah, I think it's important to never totally grow up.
I would agree 100%. If you could win an Olympic medal for any sport, real or fake, what would it be?
Figure skating.
Mm-hmm.
I love the gymnastics in the Summer Olympics and the figure skating in the Winter Olympics, because it is something bless my own heart here. I wanted to do gymnastics when I was young, but I've been 5'8" since I was in 5th grade, and my center of gravity is it's not conducive to being a gymnast. I can't do a cartwheel. It's not great. I can do a somersault. That's all I got. But I'm in awe of what those athletes can do. It is just absolutely breathtaking. And I can see 1,000 routines and never get tired of it. It's just so cool to me.
Wonderful. And I don't think people understand there is a struggle with being tall. They say, no, there's no struggle that you're tall. You got everything. No, there is a struggle sometimes. That was proof.
Yes. Can't do a split. It's not great. It's not great.
Oh. So tell us, what else do you have coming up for 2022? You have some new releases, concert dates, obviously doing more writing.
Definitely all of the above. When the pandemic started, it was a good, obviously it was terrible what happened. And, I know so many people have struggled, and the pandemic obviously has been a horrible thing, but I am a glass half full, try to find the silver lining, for every person personally. And for me personally, it was a major growth period. When I wasn't worried about going to shows and networking and playing shows and all of that, it was like I could really focus on writing for the first time ever. And I was writing 4 to 5 days a week. And then I actually learned how to record my own vocals. I turned my guest room closet into a little vocal studio, learned the Logic program. So I would we'd write a song on Zoom. I'd record my own vocal, comp it. So I'd take all of the best takes and make them one take, send it off to the producer. So that was it was a really big growth period for me. That being said, I think I also got burned out on writing because I was doing it so much that I've really tried to cut back on that now and do maybe 2 to 3 writes a week. And then obviously playing shows, that's something, I'm my own booking agent right now. So really trying to book my own shows. It's more difficult than one might think to book them, but definitely plan to play a lot more shows in 2022 and definitely release more music. Not 7 songs. I'm thinking 5 might be a really good place to live. And just kind of, I test them on my social media, and that is a really good barometer for me as to which song to release next. And right now it's looking like a song I wrote. It's called Fake ID, and talk about titles. It's basically about that person you become once you have a couple drinks when you go out and you're the girl who's making friends in the bathroom line. And, like you just come out of your shell. Not that I can relate at all, but
if you haven't caught that TikTok, you should all go check her TikTok account. Just saying.
It's just, it's a fun song. I mean, I write a lot of serious songs. Like I said, I write a lot of breakup songs, but I think this is just something that's, you can just let loose and just have fun. And, it's a song for my girls who are going out on a Friday night and just want to have some fun.
Absolutely. Great sing along. That's
yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, wonderful. It has been a pleasure having you today, and you are welcome back anytime.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I love, I have done a number of these Zoom podcast interviews, and I loved your questions. They're just so fresh, and I really enjoyed this. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. We try to definitely keep the questions very irrelevant to, just in general getting to know you. So that's it.
Yeah. And now you know that I would hide a dead body in the woods. So, I mean.
Right. Right. And we're going to record your next album in the shower. So we're all good now.
We learned a lot. All the bases today.
Well, thank you again. And thank you, friends, for tuning in for another episode of Crazy Women Country. Have a wonderful day.
If you enjoyed today's episode of Crazy Women Country, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Be sure to click the subscribe button for new interviews weekly. And thank you, friends, for joining us today on Crazy Women Country, where women's voices matter.